This is the WWE NXT February 4th, 2025 full show results video. The show started with a match between Jacy Jayne vs Stephanie Baker, and the result of this match was Stephanie Baker defeated Jacy Jayne by pinfall with SBB. In the locker room, Zarya talks some trash at Lash Legend for failing to eliminate anyone in the Royal Rumble and also not taking the tag titles back to NXT. Lash says she's talking big for somebody who spent the weekend at home. Tatum Paxley steps in and says basically it's easy to talk, and Gigi Dolan agrees that Zarya has an attitude problem. Oba Femi is interviewed backstage and says Ava Rain might run NXT, but he runs the ring, and tonight he's gonna show A-Town Down Under that they don't belong in the ring with him, and he doesn't owe Trick Williams a single thing. Lexus King is in the ring for a promo and says he wanted to come out here and be humble, but how can he be humble when he's on the path to being the biggest star in the history of professional wrestling? He couldn't do it alone, lots of legends in the back, but in particular William Regal tried to show him the light, other names too, but he's got the looks that kill and the pedigree that will. He was born into this business, the son of a psycho, but he never asked for this and tried everything he could to be everything but his father. He didn't even know him, didn't know who he was, but he knows he was a loose cannon who'd do anything to win. It's a shame, he had so much potential. Through all the smoke and mirrors, he felt truly best when he was his father's son, because that's what he is. He talks about the NXT Heritage Cup and says she's been mistreated, and his first proclamation as champion is to get rid of the world of sports rules, no more rounds, cornermen, or time limits. No, from this day forward, it's one fall, winner take all, because this is his, and Fandango music hits. He reintroduces himself, saying he used to get real weird here in NXT and that music means the world to him. King says he knows who he is. He used to run around playing dress up with Tyler Breeze, right? This isn't the YMCA, this NXT. Dango says that's very witty coming from a guy who looks like he had his face spray painted on this morning. He says the name is JDC and he represents the system for TNA wrestling, and the system is always looking for a little gold, and he wouldn't mind wrapping his lips around that cup and having a drink. He knows NXT and TNA have a working agreement, but what he doesn't know is that he just spoke to Ava and got himself a Heritage Cup match for next week. Lexus says he doesn't know about the system, he just knows Fandango, and he'll see him next week. We get a very serious, very cinematic D'Angelo family vignette that I suspect is a tie-in to a film that I don't know about based on how many it's a CW show called Wild Cards? The family are watching it backstage and everybody puts Tony over as a big Hollywood star, and Stax sarcastically complains about D'Angelo not having time for them last week. Tony complains, Stax says he's just breaking balls, and the Don tells him to focus on breaking Ridge Holland. The next match happened between Channing Stax Lorenzo vs Ridge Holland, and the result of this match was Ridge Holland defeated Channing Stax Lorenzo by pinfall with the Redeemer. Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura confront Fraxium about how they know a match against them will be a brutal ass beating, like how they beat out the Mud's asses so hard they haven't been back. Nathan Fraser says they're gonna go defend the tag titles against the Namath brothers in TNA, and in the meantime they should line up opponents so they can earn their tag title shot. The next match happened between Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley vs Sol Ruca and Zarya, and the result of this match was Sol Ruca and Zarya won the match by pinfall with Soul Smasher from Ruca on Gigi Dolan. Back from the commercial, Trick Williams is interviewed and he says he hasn't spoken to Oba Femi, but the plan is simple: show that he deserves the title shot, not Grayson Waller or Austin Theory, and Oba's got his receipt coming too. Bayley makes her entrance, followed shortly thereafter by Roxanne Perez, but before Julia can be announced, Perez wants to talk about how great she was in the Royal Rumble. Julia can wait, because this is about the two of them. Bayley points out she didn't win. Roxanne says she did eliminate Julia though, and says that Bayley is only coming back to NXT to throw her weight around in the best women's division in wrestling. But after the Rumble she gets it, because she wants all the titles, and Bayley tells her she still doesn't get it. She built the ring here, Dusty Rhodes taught her how to hold a microphone, and Roxanne has no respect for any of that. When she lost the title, she lost her mind, but Bayley pushes through on all fronts, which is why she's gonna qualify for Elimination Chamber and go on to WrestleMania. And while Roxanne throws his hissy fit, she might just lose her best friend too, and if she doesn't win the NXT title at Vengeance Day she'll be just fine, but will Perez? She says Bayley doesn't get it, because when it comes to the title she has no friends, mentors, or equals. So she can keep talking, because she's gonna win her title back and then go to Raw and SmackDown and win those titles, and if she decides to vacate the NXT title maybe Cora Jade can finally win it. Then comes Julia and she's had enough, and she tells Roxanne that she's nothing without a title and that she's gonna beat Bayley too, and none of them will survive the beautiful madness. Then comes 2025's Royal Rumble winner Charlotte Flair, and she tells NXT that Mama has come home, and asks everyone if they remember the last time she won the Royal Rumble and won the NXT Championship for a second time. She tells Roxanne she's impressed at her Royal Rumble performance, but if she's a champion come WrestleMania she'll be a runner-up again. She tells Julia that the hype is real and she respects her, and yes, this is the greatest women's division in the world, but she's better. Cora Jade shows up with a kendo stick and lights Julia and Bayley up. Roxanne begs off, but Jade takes a swing at her and she's only saved by being fast enough to run away. She swats Julia and Bayley away for good measure. Ava Rain is in her office with security keeping all ego Ethan Page and J. Yvonne Evans apart. Rain lectures Evans about attacking security while he's not cleared and says she has no choice but to suspend him. Ethan says she should punish him by putting him in a match with him, and Ava says they can have a match at Vengeance Day, but if, and only if, J. Yvonne can get himself cleared. Ridge Holland walks up to the D'Angelo family and he says Tony D'Angelo had a look on his face saying he knows if he got a true one-on-one title match he knows he'd lose. Tony says he got one 2 weeks ago. Ridge says Izzy Dame messed that up, and Izzy suggests a cage match. D'Angelo says he doesn't need the family to beat him, and that's fine by him. The next match happened between Carmen Petrovich versus Kalani Jordan, and the result of this match was Kalani Jordan won the match by submission with a crossface chicken wing. Post-match, Jordan immediately locks the hold back on and referees have to break it up, and referee Daryl Sharma reverses the decision, and the new decision is Carmen Petrovich won the match by disqualification. Stephanie Vacker is interviewed in the parking lot and she says she does everything in her power to rise, and it's no different for Fallon Henley's title. She says JC and Jasmine can't help her and she'll see her in hell. Back from the commercial, Bayley storms into Ava Rain's office to demand a match against Cora Jade. Ava says there's timing issues, Bayley says she doesn't care when or how, and Ava gives her her match next week. Josh Briggs and Yashiki and Amura roll up and they both got tag matches for next week, and Ava makes it a triple threat, them against Hank and Tank and No Quarter Catch Crew. Axiom says if they beat those teams they deserve a title match, and Rain agrees. A-Town Down Under are interviewed on their way to the ring and they talk about how great they are and how they're gonna win tonight, but they disagree as to who's gonna win at Vengeance Day. Waller smoothest it over by saying that one of them is gonna win no matter what. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between A-Town Down Under versus Oba Femi and Trick Williams, and the result of this match was A-Town Down Under won the match by pinfall when Eddie Thorpe distracts Oba Femi, and A-Town Down Under pin Trick. Post-match, Thorpe brandishes the leather strap and stares Oba down, but the champion takes his leave, so Eddie attacks Trick with it, hammering him with punches and standing tall. Again, the show goes off the air with the color bars, and this time we get an image of 4 people standing in shadow briefly. How much you would rate this week's NXT show? Let me know in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe the channel, like the video, and thanks for watching.